Welcome back to another episode of this journey where I try to make $10,000 a month on Etsy. We are one quarter into 2026, and today I'm sharing how much I made on Etsy for January, February, and March. And then later in the video, I invite you to join me as I plan for Q2 and what trends and strategies to look out for. Hi, I'm Jai, and I've been running two Etsy stores as a side hustle for over a year now. And if you're new to this channel, I share my Etsy journey as well as the strategies that I've been picking up along the way. So, subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. So, for a bit of context, I actually have two Etsy shops. My first one started as a digital product shop, and then last year I started introducing print on demand products into it. And then my second one is a shirt shop, also using the print on demand business model. Both of these shops are run using Printify as my print provider of choice, and so far I haven't been let down by the quality of their products and how easy it is to create new products and fulfill orders through their platform. Anyway, today I'm just focusing on my first shop, which I consider my favorite child. So let's get into the numbers. Starting with January, for many, January is one of the slow months. But for my shop, it somehow tends to perform a little bit better compared to other months, which is actually good because, on the other hand, Q4 isn't my shop's best performing quarter, so it cancels out. I saw some proof of this last year in January 2025, and that theory seemed to hold true for this year as well. In January, I got 6,936 visits and 214 orders. My conversion rate took a bit of a dip, with it being 3.1% for this month, when it's usually around 4%. But in terms of orders, that's about 7 orders on average per day, with my lowest being 3 orders per day and my highest being 11 orders in one day. Something that makes me pretty happy is that I've made at least $100 in revenue every day of the month, so that's a big new milestone for me. My best day generated about $420 in revenue. For this month, I earned $7,361 in total revenue, making this my biggest month so far. Now, I do run ads, so let's take a quick look at my ads dashboard. So for my ads, I got 52 orders. I spent $668 and made back $2,169. This gives me a ROAS, or return on ad spend, of 3.24. Now, you may have noticed this sudden dip in the graph here, and that's because I actually decided to turn off my ads temporarily since I wasn't getting my target ROAS of 4. But spoiler alert, I did actually eventually decide to turn them on again. As for my gross profit for January, according to Etsy, I earned about 363,000 Philippine pesos, which is around $6,000, but minus my Printify costs, I get to keep about 88,000 pesos, or about 1,450 US dollars, for a profit margin of 24%. By the way, to track everything, I've been using this tool called Etsy True Profit. It's made by an independent developer who reached out to me to try it out, and I love it so far for its simplicity. It makes calculating my Printify costs super easy because I don't have to download a spreadsheet and then manually compute everything and all of that. Plus, it automatically converts my Printify costs, which are in USD, to Philippine peso with real-time conversion rates. So if you use Printify and you want to know your production costs in one click, this tool is actually available for just a one-time payment of $5, which is super cheap and worth it in my opinion, because staying on top of your expenses is a must for any business. I'll be linking this tool in the comments and description below if you want to try it out for yourself. And while you're at it, please boop that like button if you're enjoying this so far. Now in February, having turned off ads, I was kind of nervous to see how my shop would perform organically, because this is the first time I've turned them off for a long period since I literally started selling on Etsy. It didn't beat my numbers in January, but it kind of turned out better than I thought. This month, I got 4,807 visits, and my conversion rate stayed kind of the same at 3.2%. This got me 154 orders in total, with my lowest performing day making 1 sale and my best performing day making 13 sales on February 25, which got me $355 in revenue for that day. But following super close to that is February 21 with $354 in revenue. But what's super interesting is that on that day, I actually only got 4 orders. So that day was pretty exciting because someone made a big group purchase from my shop. In terms of revenue, I made $4,681 in revenue for February, which is significantly lower than January. But having performed organically, I'm pretty happy with that. As for my gross profit, according to Etsy, I made 256,000 pesos or $4,224. Minus Printify costs, that leaves me with about 80,600 pesos or $1,330 in net profit, which isn't far behind from January considering this was all organic. So my margins were slightly higher at 31.5%, which made me curious now. If I turned on ads, I wonder how much more revenue I would have made this month. But at the same time, would the increase in revenue just give me a small increase in net profit because of ad spend? This question stayed with me in March, and this led me to some interesting choices. Now, I don't know if you felt it, but March felt kind of slow, but also chaotic at the same time. And I'm not talking about just sales, but with everything going on in the world right now. And the fact is, these current events really do impact businesses on a global scale, including our humble little Etsy shops. I'm not gonna go into the macroeconomics and politics of it all, but anyway, in March, I got 6,411 visits. And on a positive note, my conversion rate rose significantly by 0.7%. This got me 253 orders in total for the month, which is a new record in terms of how many orders I've gotten in a month. So that's another win for this quarter. This got me $6,610 in revenue for March. It didn't quite beat January, and that's because this month I've been making more digital product sales, which means more sales were more like $5 each. And the reason I started getting more digital product sales again is because this is when I turned ads back on, but with a more daring strategy. You see, when you run Etsy ads consistently and you keep hitting your max budget, Etsy slowly increases your cap over time. Eventually, you can unlock $1,000 per day in ad spend. Now, in my case, I turned ads off for over a month, and on top of that, I actually hadn't been running ads on my digital products since July last year. So when I came back, I was basically starting from scratch. Because of that, I decided to go all in and turn ads on for all of my listings with a daily budget of $800. Because of this bigger budget and bigger set of listings to test, I could cast a wider net. Looking at the results so far, I got 2,248 clicks and 107 orders from my advertised listings. I spent $981 and made back $2,449. And despite my daily ad budget being $800, I actually haven't been spending more than $100 per day on them with my chosen Etsy ad strategy, which is set at efficient spending. So that puts my ROAS at around 2.5 right now. My target is at least a 4, which is where I roughly break even on ads. Now, I do have a more in-depth ads guide if you want to go deeper into this, but just to give you a quick version, if you start running ads with a higher budget like this, you can expect to lose a bit of money at the beginning. Your ROAS is usually going to be lower early on, but that's because it actually takes a bit of time to filter out your actual profitable listings. If your advertised listings are spending too much without getting sales, or if your listings aren't hitting your target ROAS, you turn them off. And ideally, what happens is that your overall ROAS will slowly improve as you cut out the underperforming ads and double down on what's working. That's why running ads is definitely not for everyone. It takes a bit of emotional strength to not be discouraged when you're not hitting your target ROAS. And it also takes some detachment to your listings because it's easy to be like, maybe this listing still has a chance to get more sales if I continue advertising them. But really, the best move would be to stop running ads on them and move on. Whew, okay, enough about ads for now. Let's get back into the money numbers. So Etsy says that my gross profit for March comes to about 302,500 pesos, which is around 5,000 US dollars, at least by today's conversion rate. Minus Printify costs, I am left with 63,302 pesos, or about $1,044. Yes, it's about $300 less than February, and that's because of ads, but fortunately, my profit margin is still at 20%, which is the minimum that I aim for. So all in all for Q1, I made about 232,000 pesos in total profit, which in US dollars is about $3,828. I'm pretty happy considering I'm now averaging around $5,000 in revenue over the past 6 months, which is encouraging despite the many experiments I run on this shop. Having been open for over a year and 9 months now, we're a little above the halfway point to $10,000 a month in revenue, which is really exciting. Anyway, we're now in Q2, so let's plan for this quarter together. Q2 has a lot going on, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and the beginning of summer. Previously, I had been focusing more on evergreen products, but now I have a bit more leeway to spend time on seasonal products and bring more of them into my shop. We have April, which is more of a transition month since it's lighter in terms of big events. So for me, this is my setup phase, mainly for Father's Day and the upcoming summer season. Yes, Mother's Day is in May, but I'm honestly done with those listings at this point. If you're in the same boat, you should have ideally started designing for them as early as February. But at the same time, moms are a really solid audience to design for on Etsy. So even if you miss the seasonal push, you can still design for them pretty much all year round. And the same goes for dads. This is probably one of the biggest opportunities, especially for print on demand, if you lean into personalization and emotion. So instead of making generic mom and dad designs, try focusing more on concepts that feel specific. Things like their interests, their occupations, or even what their kids are up to. Those small angles can make a big difference because they feel more personal. And that's what usually converts. At the same time, summer starts to kick in, and this is where products outside of the usual shirts and mugs start to shine. This is where Printify becomes really useful for me. On the apparel side, I can expand into things like tank tops, hats, crop tops, and even swimwear, which naturally fit the season better than just the standard t-shirts. And if I want to go beyond apparel, there are options like towels, canvas bags, can coolers, and other travel type products like pouches and journals, especially for the niche audiences like book loving girlies. What I like about Printify is that it gives me access to a wide range of products without needing to hold inventory. And in a lot of cases, the base costs are low enough for me to maintain a healthy profit margin. For most of my products, I aim for at least 20% profit margin overall, and these types of items help me get there while still staying competitive. Now, for some goal setting, I'm aiming for 100 new listings. Not all at once, of course, but spread out consistently. And I chose 100 because it's not too ambitious to the point where I might burn out, but it's also big enough to actually move the needle and grow my niche authority. And lastly, for ads, I'll be keeping a close eye on them. Having a budget of $800 a day is honestly a bit scary, so I can't help but check them multiple times a day just to make sure I don't burn a hole in my pocket. I'll definitely be sharing updates on how that goes in my next Etsy recap. Anyway, I hope you picked up at least something from this video, maybe a few lessons, or a bit of inspiration. I know this was more of a bit of a storytelling session, but hopefully it gave you some new ideas or even just a bit of motivation. And I wouldn't be doing this without all your support and encouragement, so I really appreciate you guys for sticking around. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.